listening to The Chartographers.
And welcome to the third season of The Chartographers. It is a music-loving podcast for music-loving people, where we take every single album by a particular artist and we rank it from worst to first. It's what we do. It's what we have always done.
I can't tell if I hate this more or less than when you're like, hello!
Screaming
The
like
Chartographers!
Oh, hey guys, it's Evan and Taran. I'm not sure if you know us. We are from previous episodes. We are kind of the recurring characters, the cast, if you will. And if you've been following the plot of the season so far, we've been picking some out of left field artists, and it's been a great time. We've been diving headfirst into some odd, strange, maneuvering discographies throughout the time. And this one, though, oh baby, we decided to go full bore on this one here. This is someone, an Icelandic ice nymph who has managed to create kind of avant pop, as you will, taking pop music and taking it to its strange outer limit and still somehow, for the most part, being commercial. For the most part. There's a point. We'll get to it. But guys, we're going to dive into one of she's kind of the Oscar-nominated oddball that everyone loves and everyone tries to imitate, but is, goddammit, she's a real artist. So this week, we are talking about the one, the only, an artist who is so kind and generous, she gave us a sample of her new song, and here's what it sounds like. Ah! That's right, guys. It is Bjork! The Sugar Cubes, if you're nasty. So, Bjork, whose last name I'm not going to try and pronounce, she is a wonderful and delightful artist who actually at the age of 5, born and raised in Iceland, was sent to music school and learned a lot about different instrumentation, learned a lot about how to, like Rimsky-Korsakov and all sorts of other things there, and eventually a recording that she did of a cover of a song made its way onto the radio, and eventually someone else signed her to a record deal, so by the age 11, 12, she put out her fucking debut album, which was almost nothing but covers, and in later interviews, she's kind of been like, that wasn't really me. So, of course, what she later did was formed a lot of weird bands, was in a lot of bands. Punk scene started to come to Iceland. She eventually was a part of a band called the Sugar Cubes, and it was around that time when, kind of late 80s, early 90s, when all of a sudden there's this kind of B-52s-ish, No Doubt-ish kind of sound that's emerging. There's a song called Birthday, made its way onto college radio stations. She was the biggest thing to come out of Iceland. She's like, I've learned to my limits after 3 albums. I'm going to do my own thing. And then Bjork, the artist as we know today, came out with the debut album called appropriately Debut, and then a bunch of other albums after that. And we are going to talk about them, and we are going to rank them. It is so weird and fun, and I'm excited about it. But most importantly, though, in order to rank all of these things, we need the people in place to make it happen, our own Sugar Cubes, if you will. So first off, just so you know, the people in the room, it's me, Evan Sadi. You might know me as the interviews editor over at Pop Matters. You've probably seen my writings in MSN or in liner no re-releases, stuff all around. Google me. But most importantly, though, I hope you know me. Or don't Google me.
I like how as the episodes go on, you just get more and more cocky. You're like, you've definitely seen my recent writings on MSN.
You know
There's
me.
no way you missed it.
You love me. You don't. It's fine. I hate me too. It's fine. But most importantly, though, if you do know anything, the one thing I do love is this podcast because it's awesome. And if you know anything about this podcast, then you know the person sitting next to me, the Michelle Gondry to my Spike Jones. That's right, guys.
Ooh. All right.
The co-creator of the podcast, Taran O'Reilly. Oh, it's Bjork. Hi.
My Bjork impression is not good.
I don't.
I have been trying for a couple days now to get a Bjork impression, and it doesn't. I can't do it. I mean, I am male, so that doesn't help.
That is true. Very true.
But it's still,
And at one point, we're going to discuss the incredible mystery that is how the fuck, over all of these years, her voice
sounds
is
exactly
basically
the same.
unchanged. I don't know
the
how
only thing that's changed is she started going like a lot.
Yeah.
Rolling her R's.
Rolling her... and it's so inconsistent that when it does happen, you're like, but why though?
Yeah.
Why are you rolling your R's? It does not fit this song.
Now,
Anyway.
now, question for you. Going into this week, what was your familiarity level with Bjork?
I knew about a dozen Bjork songs.
Just
you know,
sporadically.
just sporadic. And
You've seen the It's Oh So Quiet video.
Right, it seems It's Oh So Quiet. I really liked Hyper Ballad. you know, the normal stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously I had heard Big Time Sensuality, like, the basics, but I had never really
dove in.
Yeah, so
Well,
it's been a very interesting week.
And that's the thing, is that, like, we have a lot to say. And already in Research Week, we've had a lot to say to each other about this. But we can't do it alone. We had to bring in a Bjork expert here.
Thank God.
And honestly, this came on the recommendation of one of our most beloved guests, Jericho Blue, from our Madonna episode from season 1. But let me tell you something. This is a Bjork super fan. That he is incredible. He is delightful. We are happy to have him here. The interior designer you want in your life, because he will interiorly design your soul. That's right. Okay. Mikey Andonaegui is here in studio right now. How you doing?
I'm great.
Good.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Oh, dude. I mean, like, I think it was like at a party like 2 years ago we mentioned the podcast because Jericho had just been on it. He's just like, oh, no, I could talk about Bjork. She's like your number one all time.
For sure. And,
right.
And in case you're wondering why the opinion of an interior designer matters when it comes to Bjork, she herself recently said that statistically her average fan is a gay man from Mexico, and that's pretty much me. So you're going to hear the opinion of
the
her
average
typical fan, a typical Bjork fan.
All right.
Great.
Well, and that's fantastic because you've been living in this for years, and we have a lot to get through. Because when you get down to it, she basically has 9 studio albums, if you want to kind of cut around the fat. And those are her dance pop-oriented debut in 1993. There's her rainbow expansion of that sound in the form of Post, 1995. There is her Oh Hey, Machines Can Feel album in Homogenic in 1997. There is, of course, her a lot more orchestral, a lot more delicate Snowbound album, Vespertine, from 2001. There was her Hey, you know what, fuck instruments, my voice is great, Medulla in 2004. There is the By the Way Timbaland's Here album, Volta, in 2007. There is her app-oriented song about the earth and, you know, minerals and shit in Biophilia in 2011. There is her tragic breakup album that is Vulnicura?
Correct.
Vulnicura in
something like that.
2015.
It's Latin, so we don't really know how it's pronounced.
Exactly. And of course, we also have her Guess What Flutes Are Back Baby album, Utopia, in 2017. So that's 9 albums. That's pretty good there. But guess what? This is Bjork. So there's a lot of weird shit in the discography thing in terms of things we're going to rank. First off, I think it goes without saying that album that she recorded when she was 11, 12 called Just Bjork, I think she doesn't like it. She doesn't consider it part of her own discography. I think we can just nix that right now.
For sure.
Like, hardcore Bjork fans, they've heard it and like, oh, she's doing Fool on the Hill. Cool.
I've never actually listened to it.
And this
so
is the
I'm okay with
hardcore
not
Bjork
ranking
fan
it.
in here. Right, exactly. So we're not doing that. She did kind of a jazz covers album in the form of Gling Glow in 1990. And the thing is, it's her doing covers, and it's almost entirely sung in Icelandic. It's a fun little experiment, but I wouldn't say that. I mean, her debut, I think is called that because that's like, this is the start of my solo career.
Right. She views that as her first record, so I think we should too.
I think that's a great idea. So that being said, there is, of course, in 2010, she did a collaborative, almost entirely vocal EP with the band, oh my god, Dirty Projectors, called Mount Wittenberg Orca in 2010. It's a collaborative album. In certain cases, we've allowed collaborative albums.
It's also an EP.
Yeah.
It was for charity. Mm-hmm. I think that's easy. We already have enough, you know?
Exactly. But we also have 2 soundtrack albums to talk about, too. One of them is called Selma Songs. It was released in 2000 to tie into the Lars von Trier film that she starred in at the time called Dancer in the Dark. It's a fucked up, dark little movie, let me tell you something. But also, there's musical numbers. You have to get through 40 fucking minutes of, like, depression, sadness in order to get there.
The first 40 minutes weren't even necessarily that depressing. They were sort of bleak, but they weren't like... The true soul-crushing moments did not happen until after the first dance number, but it was still those were a hard 40 minutes to get to. Let me tell ya.
Because she had such a huge hand in the crafting of the songs for the film, like that's like it's almost.
Well, she was initially brought on board to write the score specifically, and then he was like, but you should probably play the lead.
And she won a Best Actress at Cannes when it came out. Like, it's the whole thing. I personally think because it's such a song-oriented effort, and because it's also very much an important artistic moment for her, I think we should include Selma Songs in our ranking.
I also think it's important to mention that, well, first of all, she titled that album Selma Songs. It's not, just the motion picture soundtrack of blah, blah, blah.
She's embodying the character, and that's what she's playing, yeah.
And even some of the lyrics of the songs in that album are different in the actual album than in the movie.
Also, some of the singers are different, too, yes. Yeah, because Tom York is a better singer than Peter Stormare, so sorry, buddy. All right, so there's that. Most importantly, though, there's also another one, though, and I'm sure hardcore fans are all about it. In 2005, she and her then artistic partner and romantic partner, Matthew Bellamy, they put out
Matthew
Barney. I don't give a shit about him. He is put out in 2005. He put out a movie, and there's a soundtrack for Drawing Restraint 9, which Mikey has seen, which is a 2-hour abstract kabuki ship out at sea, no theater effort.
It's about whales. It's about sailors. It's beautiful. The 3 hours are worth it just for the ending.
Okay,
yeah.
So that soundtrack, I listened to it this week. Bjork sings like 3 songs on there, I think, about.
Sounds about right.
Exactly. And there's a bunch of other people on there. Weirdly enough, it's one of the things, I know that as a producer and instrumentalist, she had a heavy hand in it. It feels more like a soundtrack than Selma Songs feels like a soundtrack, Selma Songs feels like a soundtrack that was repurposed as an album. This feels like it has to be listened to in conjunction with the film, almost.
And the fact that she sampled one of the songs from Drawing Restraint 9 in Volta, I think means that it's not her album. She's using that music later for her own album that's not hers.
Okay.
So I would agree with that.
I think that's fair. All right, well, in that case, debut, post, homogenic, Selma Songs, Vespertine, Medulla, Volta, Biophilia, Vulnicura, and Utopia. We got 10 albums. We got 10 spots. We're going to rank them all as a group. Good arguments, change opinions. I'm definitely open on a lot of different ideas there. But most importantly, though, Mikey, our dear friend, guest, target demographic Bjork fan. You have... When did you first hear Bjork? What year, just roughly?
Let's say 98,
Damn.
maybe?
All right, cool. So you've been in it for almost 2 decades now. So you better than anyone else. We're just talking about it. We're not ranking anything definitively. But Mikey, what would you nominate, number 10, as the worst Bjork album?
I'm not ready to necessarily nominate this for number 10, but I do think we should start the conversation with her latest release, Utopia.
Utopia. Okay. So... context, for those who don't know. Biophilia was kind of she's exploring the Earth, putting out a lot of different apps, working with scientists, sitting down with Richard Attenborough kind of album. It was more of a multimedia project, you could argue, more than an album, kind of, sort of, maybe. But then, after the breakup with Matthew Barney, she got, it was, pure, pouring out my soul kind of stuff. And she put out not 1, but 2 albums about it. Because Vulnicura is very much kind of this is the breakup album. This is the exploring all the ins and outs and the ups and downs.
In Latin, the title literally means healing of wounds. Mm-hmm. So it's very much, very specifically, her cathartic getting over this breakup.
Right. Yeah. And therefore, Utopia, which came out just 2 years afterwards, on the cover, I don't even know what creature she is on the cover, but there's little holes in her neck, and she's holding up a flute, which should give you an indication there's a lot of goddamn flute all over this album.
She's birds.
Yeah, she's working. Yes.
A lot of birds.
Oh my god. She's working with Arca, who is kind of the hard extreme producer who worked with on Yeezus and worked with FKA Twigs and has his own albums as well. Mm-hmm. But this is she's been working with them across the last 2 albums. It is kind of this, I don't even know how to describe it. Kind of this orchestral bleak.
It's
industrial pop.
Yeah, it's not quite ambient.
Right. No, definitely not.
But
I do not feel relaxed.
But it's coming from that place. Mm-hmm. I feel that's almost the atmosphere they're going for, but then they lay a lot of other shit on top of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think with Utopia there's a disconnect. I mean the title itself refers to this place, right? And she thinks that, or she said that after Vulnicura, she wanted to do something maybe more lighthearted or something that gave her more joy than Vulnicura, and that did not happen. Oh. That was not accomplished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're the hardcore Bjork fan. What's been post Volta, let's say? What's been your opinion of this? Because definitely Biophilia was a turning point. Her last 3 albums have kind of continued in that vein.
I would agree completely. Yes. There are some songs that have been worth listening to.
I would agree.
These albums, but I think also some of my least favorite Bjork songs are from the last few.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And the thing is that, I think the one thing we also need to credit here is the fact, especially when you trace her career as far as it has been, I don't think anyone's denying her ability at craft. Because, like, when it comes to these songs, these complex, dynamic arrangements, and, like, all the things that she has planned out, like, it is absolutely admirable. However, I feel like with these last 3 albums, she's very much kind of, like, built her own world that we, the listeners, we, the audience, aren't necessarily invited into. Sometimes we are. There's little moments of that. But for the most part, like, especially Utopia, that fucking flute sound is across the entire album. And I mean that as a negative because, like, one track bleeds into another. Like, there's almost little differentiation between them.
Well, and part of the problem is, too, is that, like, I'll say some of my favorite moments on Utopia are when the flutes are going full bore just because it's so intricate and interesting. And then you have stuff like Features Creatures and Future Forever where it's just like almost completely tempoliess and she's just like free singing this melody she's written and every like 4 seconds there's like a synth chord hit. And that's all that's happening in these songs. And I just like... That's never going to be an effective method of conveying emotion, what you want to get across. Like, not very much happening in a lot of these tracks, and that's true of the last 3 albums. They all have a couple of those.
Here's the one thing I will say about the songs that we might think are, not her best, her worst songs.
Yeah.
They're not accidentally bad. She knows I think she knows exactly what she's doing.
I would agree.
I would
absolutely
She wants
agree.
to create those songs the way they are.
Definitely.
She doesn't care that they don't sound pretty. That's just what she wanted to create.
Uh-huh.
And then people didn't like them, but she intended for them to be there.
That being said, though, and we could talk about these albums. I know you didn't nominate necessarily, but I will say off of Utopia, there were at least 2 songs I dug. First off, the opener, Arise in My Senses, this boom, 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 like this, it's like waves of sound come at you. It's a melody. It's a hookable melody. They kind of, they stick to it. They grind it through, and it stays in your head a little bit. And it's just this explosion of noise. I'm like, oh my god, this is like almost record-breaking pop, kind of avant-pop Bjork back again. And I'm like, in it. And then the rest of the album happens.
It was a great introduction after everything that was Volnicura.
Yeah.
But then that's not the constant sound of the rest of the album.
Right, and I kind of like Saint. Saint actually kind of stuck out for me a little bit. It has a little bit more of a melody I can latch my ears onto.
I'm partial to Sumi.
Okay.
I like Sumi.
Yeah.
I can dig Sumi.
But these are still minor notes.
Right. If they were on other albums, I'm not even sure I would have mentioned Sumi.
Right.
Like, I enjoy it, but it's not, like, a career highlight by any means.
It's a highlight because it's not the body memory, on this album there. So, you just threw it out there. What would you actually nominate at number 10?
So, listening to these albums again, I think I realized that the one album that has the most songs that I dislike is Biophilia. And originally when it came out, I was, I wanted to get into it. I tried to get into what she was doing, but there are some songs that I just have to skip on that album.
Well, I will say, I think that the weakest run of tracks on any album I've listened to while doing this podcast is Dark Matter, Hollow, and Virus off of Biophilia.
Fucking Hollow.
I like Virus, but I completely...
I kind of like Virus too, but Hollow is literally... the worst thing I think I've ever heard her do.
Hollow,
Ancestors on Medulla is kind of close.
I forget if was Hollow one of the ones where I was looking at, and it's in like 17/8 or something like that.
Time, yeah.
Like that's part of why it's so off-putting is because there's an extra like 8th note beat in there, which is just that's very disarming for because even on this album in general there's songs in 5/4 and 6/4 and 7/4 and 3/4 and like it very much is breaking traditional time, and that's also part of why Dark Matter is so bad because it's like I was saying earlier, it's one of those songs where it's fully free sung. There is not a tempo, there is not a time signature, it's just whatever emotions she pours into the melody she's written, and that's just while I can respect that from an artistic endeavor, it just isn't music that I never want to hear that song again.
Right. And the thing is that like I will say Thunderbolt might be my terrible Grey Goose on this one here because that fucking song, Craving Miracles! And her repeating the phrase, Craving Miracles! there? And I'm just like, oh my god, girl, shut up. Like, it's rough.
But my favorite song on any of these last 3 albums is Crystalline.
Yeah.
Which is on Biophilia.
Well, Crystalline actually builds to something.
It's an actual, like, fucking song.
Yeah.
It has a chorus. It has, like, a hook. It has really cool production.
I like the lyrics of it when she's talking about crystals, like, growing like plants underground. Like, there's some stuff going on there. Yeah.
It was a great first single. She teamed up with Michel Gondry for the video, like, after so many years. So it was kind of this big excitement about
like,
her
she's back, she's back.
Yeah, she's back.
Yeah.
And then the rest of Biophilia happened.
Yeah.
I am a fan of Mutual Core, though. That song kind of
I will say,
rescues
that's
the
been
album
kind of surprised me this week, yeah.
That's Mutual Core is one
it has a fucking
where
beat,
I
even if it's
definitely,
industrial.
I feel like, yeah, the industrial beat is a little too much for me. It's almost, it's like veering into like a Zola Jesus territory.
Yeah.
Which, you know, obviously Zola Jesus is hugely influenced by Bjork, but it's still like in that same vein. And I think that the melody on Mutual Core is better than the production. So I still very much enjoy listening to it.
Yeah.
I think her vocal take and the melody are
Talking
really
about
cool.
the tectonic plates moving in her chest. Like,
Yeah.
Like, I like her embodying the earth and kind of what that signifies.
Yeah.
Like, I dig that, you know? And she's got some other lines kind of scattered throughout here. I remember, like, Tabula Rosa on Utopia has, like, one of the most memorable lines, which is, let's break the chains of the fuck-ups of our fathers so women no longer have to take it lying down, or something like that. Like, it's just like, you know, there's some powerful stuff on there. But I remember on let's just talk about it while we're here, Volicura, at one point, I believe it's Stone Milker, there's that line where she talks about how, you know, sometimes clarity is not always apparent, and it's something along those lines. I'm like, yeah, that's the entire last of these albums. Like, and the thing is that critics jizz themselves over Volicura, which yeah.
I was looking, it made it onto like dozens of like top 5 albums of the year, and I'm like, are we listening to the same thing? Like, you have to be hardcore into Bjork and, like...
Which music critics, I think, are. There's kind of a FOMO of, like, not...
I feel like also, by 2015, music critics were hardcore into Arca. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they were working together was like, oh my god!
Yeah. And weirdly enough, like, of these albums, Utopia has bad songs in it, Biophilia has bad songs in it, there's a couple takeaways on those, and Volicura is just... there.
It just kind of exists.
You know, and I know people fucking love this album. They think it's like such a powerful breakup album and it carries on some fucking narrative. But when I hear Not Get, like, that's like almost atonal to me. Like, legit. Like, I kind of maybe like Lion Song a little.
Yeah, Lion Song is definitely my favorite thing on here. But again, it's not even as good as Sumi from Utopia, which is like not. Anyway.
Mikey.
I like History of Touches, but I think getting through the 10 minutes of Black Lake followed by Family is a challenge. And, I mean, you can say that about most of her albums. They're challenging to listen to.
Right. But, I mean, the thing about being an experimental music artist, because although she, you know, plays in pop, she is an experimental artist. She is avant-garde. And the thing I always like to describe about experimental music is sometimes the experiment works. Sometimes it stretches into such a degree that it's just like, wow, I had no idea a song could do that. You know, like, it expands the horizons, and because of that, not every song, you know, works. I would say even of her earlier albums, there isn't one that I would say is flawless. I'd say, you know, there's ups and downs to each, but like I still enjoy how many of the times that it hits. It's just once we hit here, it's just moving so far out of pasture that's just like rough.
Yeah, and I think it says a lot that like one of my favorite moments on Volicura is when Anoni is singing, and it's like a different artist is what's saving this.
Oh, thank God! Right, exactly. Yeah. Okay, well that being said, it's been 20 minutes already.
Well, I think we can rank all 3 of these.
I would agree
it's just
with
a matter
that
of agreeing on what order it is.
I think number 10 Biophilia, number 9 Utopia, number 8 Volicura.
By pure value of crystalline, I would put Biophilia higher, but I'm not even gonna fight with you,
Mikey.
I would do Volicura 10, Utopia 9, Biophilia 8.
I would do, this is tough, Biophilia 10,
all right, yeah.
Utopia 9, Volicura 8.
Okay. Let's do that.
Because Vulnicura isn't as bad as the other ones.
Right, exactly.
It's just not...
If you were highlights, it's just unmemorable.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, guess what? I feel great now. After that's out of the way, 10, 9, 8, we can have a discussion now. I'm excited about it.
We can talk about the good shit.
Exactly. All right. So we are now down to debut post-homogenic Selma songs, Vespertine, Medulla, Volta. Taran. Number 7.
Oh, God. Okay.
What would you toss out there? I have an idea myself, but...
You should go then.
Okay.
Because I have, it's tied between, 3.
Right. And so I would say that, we're now at a point where we're talking about good albums. And for me, of these ones that we have left, and I wouldn't even call it my favorite, but I'd say the hardest one for me to actually enjoy on an end-to-end basis is actually Volta. Because I feel like it's one of the things after Vespertine and Medulla, these kind of softer, a little bit weirder, a little bit more orchestral, kind of decadent, kind of albums. Volta was almost like, oh, she's back, she's returning to, you guys like Army of Me, right? This is kind of that. And, she works with Timbaland on 2 tracks. It has a little bit more African percussion in
Which
there.
Which songs are the Timbaland tracks?
That would be Earth Intruders and Innocence. The one that has the, punch sound.
My 2 favorites.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense.
I know. And the thing is, so, this is, I feel like even, when she gets, atonal and angry on Declare Independence, which is almost a political song, except I don't think it knows exactly what it wants to say. This is an interesting album. I don't hate it, but Don't Flame a Desire recycles its melody too long. It's just kind of a confused, almost return to form. It kind of reminds me of Beck Squarrow, where he's kind of I'm almost recreating your favorite album that you have for me, Odelay, but in modern terms and not as good.
Dull Flame of Desire is definitely one where I was like, this would be a really good song if it was 4 minutes long, but it's 7.5, and it just keeps doing that thing, and it just keeps going, and you're like, oh all right. Alright.
Okay. Cool.
Fucking get it. But I will say, Innocence is creeping up on one of my favorites.
Oh, really?
I really dig that beat. And it's, I'm a huge Timbaland fan.
Yeah.
So.
And it's weird how, his style blends in with Bjork surprisingly well.
Yeah.
I would say Earth Intruders is also great.
She's, since Vespertine, and maybe even since, think about the beat on Cavalda from Selma songs. Timbaland has always been about making beats out of unconventional percussive sounds, and that's something that she's also done. So when he comes to produce her album, he doesn't even really need to change what he's doing very much, So I think that's why those are 2 of the strongest tracks on here.
Yeah.
I do like her collaboration with Anoni on this album. Glad she came back for Vulnicura, but it also has a couple of really dull moments.
Vertebrae.
I don't mind Vertebrae.
Okay.
Hope, I don't even remember what it sounds like, and I listened to it twice, this week. I don't remember what it sounds like because it's that uneventful.
Yeah.
I kind of I See Who You Are. That has a nice little lilting melody to it there, but again, I feel of these albums, this is leaps and bounds more listenable than the previous 3, the last 3 albums in their discography.
Yeah.
I just feel artistically, it's colorful and all over the place and doesn't know what it wants to do. That's kind of how I feel about it.
It is all over the place, and maybe that's something that worked in post, and we can talk a little bit more about that later. And she herself said she was trying to do a return, Volta, again with the Latin, it means going back. But it didn't work as well this time as it had in the past for her.
Yeah. Well, that's my nomination. Do either of you have alternates?
Yeah, I'm not even sure I would put this lower than Volta, but I think that before we rank it, we should talk about Medulla. Because I enjoy a couple things that are happening on Medulla. I think Triumph of a Heart is a fucking banger. And what was the other one?
Cradle?
Who Is It?
Yeah.
Who Is It is a really solid, beautiful song. But the problem is that I like Who Is It, and it sounds like a performance of a college a cappella group.
Oh.
And that's kind of my issue with this whole album, is that a cappella can be fascinating and super interesting, but not for 14 songs. If this album was 9 songs, maybe I would feel better about it, but it
goes on too long.
As much as she does manage to find a huge array of things to do with a human voice, not all of those sounds work in a recorded context. When you're hearing the or the and you're like, okay, really? Yeah, we want this? Yeah.
Well, and
you listened to this like a bunch of times during mastering, and we're like, yes, this is good. Print it.
This is the album that gave us Ancestors.
Yeah, which is like piano chords and...
And like someone crying in the background.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm like, oh, this is music, I guess, technically.
Yeah, but that's my thing, is that like, while Volta is not the return to form that it was trying to be, it still at least is like, it sounds like classic Bjork. It sounds in line, whereas Medulla is a really cool experiment, but it's not. There's nothing on there really that I'm gonna put on all the time.
Right. And that's fine, except the biggest thing for me is that the difference is that Volta is like listenable, it is enjoyable. There's a couple songs on it there. There's some bad songs off of Medulla, but there are some fucking great songs on there. Like, I wouldn't even call it my favorite, but the fact that you have Mike Patton doing the low end, and then you have the rapper beatboxer Rozelle doing the beat to Where Is the Line, where it's just like this, like it starts out kind of weird and kind of gritty, and then this boom, dun dun ba-da-da-dun, ba-da-da-dun. Like, it's weird how, like, she's like, let's do industrial music with voice almost. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it's one of the things, I don't even love that song, but I can kind of appreciate it. But like, who is it? It's like a fucking pop song, like, it's just, and like, that's why Bon Iver and other people have like covered it since then. And then, I mean, I remember getting this album, when I was still going through Bjork stuff. I'm like, I'm fascinated, I'm interested. I think I remember hearing Oceania when it came out, which is a song, like, those whoops and wails on there. Woo! All these grooves coming together, like, oh man, I dug it. But when I heard Triumph of the Heart for the first time, which is like a full dance pop song, with like people like Dokaka and other people on there, like just doing sounds, and now watch it up, and I'm just like, oh man, like you're in it. Like, how is this working as well as it is?
Right, but the thing is, like, this album could have been like as incredible and immediate as Who Is It and Triumph of the Heart all the way through, and
it's not.
Mm-hmm. It's not even close.
You're right. I do, however, think that Medulla is lyrically superior than Volta.
Okay.
You were just saying how Declare Independence is like kind of political, but not really.
Declare Independence!
In Medulla, she has pretty direct political lyrics in songs like Mouth's Cradle, where, she's talking about the Osamas and Bushes of the world fucking things up for everybody. And I also think Desired Constellation is just a beautiful metaphor. One of, like, her metaphorical poems that she used to release. In one of her later albums. So I do think that it has stronger moments than Volta's strong moments.
Okay.
I think that's
like fair. I said, I was not necessarily saying we need to put this at 7. I thought we should talk about it before we ranked it.
Right. So just out of curiosity, what would you put at the spot, Mikey?
Volta?
Yes. And then would you follow that with Medulla?
Well...
Okay, well, before anything else, let's put in Volta.
We can lock in Volta at 7.
At number 7. All right, cool. All right, what you got?
At the risk of creating controversy, I think Vespertine is coming up on our list here.
I mean...
Okay, so... When I had, like, all the Bjork, like, going into this week, I had, like, everything, and I gave it to Taran, and the thing is that as I pointed out when I was listening to it, like, on my phone, I'm like, oh, fuck, I gave you the incomplete Vespertine. Because what I had was essentially, like, I was that thing, like, back in the college day, like, you worry about hard drive space, because, it's so much more limited back then, and, like, instead of, like, ripping all the songs on the album, you rip your favorite song, and I had, like, 5 or 6 on here, and that's what I gave to Taran initially, and then I'm like, oh, wait, no, it's okay, I fixed it, I have everything together, I put it all on there, and honestly, in this week listening to it, it's just one of those things with Vespertine where it's like, man, may have been right about not including every single song on there, because, like, the songs that don't work just don't work. But the songs that do work are, like,
so the first half of the album is amazing, right? Is that what we're talking about? Hidden Place, It's Not Up to You, Pagan Poetry, Frosty.
I'm not sure I would draw the line that clearly. Like, first half second half. Like, Heirloom is one of my favorites on here for sure.
But Heirloom is not her song originally. She's singing over Console's instrumental piece, Crabcraft. And first of all, I think it's amazing that song fits so well in this album when it's not originally composed by her. Also, I want to hear more songs like that on Vespertine.
But also, I mean, but that being said, casual, everyday Bjork fan, for the most part, when they pick up this album, they're going to hear that, like, oh, it's a Bjork song.
For sure.
So I'm willing to qualify. And also, Unison is a fucking amazing closer, like, legit.
Unison blows my fucking mind. Unison took what, and we'll get to this in a minute, I'm always going to be a fan of a giant horn and string ending. I've said it before, I'll say it again. So, New World off of Selma Songs is, like, one of my faves. Beautiful, stunning. For me, Unison took that to the next level. She's described these two albums as Selma Songs was her day job and Vespertine was her, like, what she worked on at night when she got home.
Yeah.
And I feel like she took the bones of what she had started doing with her day job and then was like, but I can do so much more with this.
Right.
With my own full artistic control.
Because for those who don't know, this was when she began experimenting with microbeats. Like, she had a laptop. This is before the fucking, like, I'm gonna make stuff on my iPad, which everyone did in fucking 2010, 2011. Mm-hmm. Fuck her and Damon Albarn. But the thing is that, like, around this, like, she's working with just minor, like, EDM, like, like, kind of things, and, like, building songs out of, like, these very small, unlike the big, overblown stuff she'd done before, like, quiet, introverted, whispering.
I was reading about very specifically the way that she made all these beats was she wanted to choose, like, things that sounded well when they sounded good still while they were digitized. So that's why there's a lot of, like, clavicles and harps and stuff like that. Or clavichords. My words and stuff.
Clavicles, yep.
You know what you mean.
but so because of all of that and just because of the very, like, chilly vibe of this record.
It is a winter album. It is a winter night album.
And it's like, almost because of that, I would say that the sort of more fillery tracks are all, I just love, like, this is one of the albums where I want to listen to it straight through, with the exception of Aurora. Maybe one of my least favorite Bjork songs. But, like, when you get to an Echo, a Stain, or, like, don't even get me started on Pagan Poetry, which, P.S., she had a music box made for, and then she just recorded the music box for the record. But, like, there's just this calmness to this album that...
It's almost a relief.
It's like, it's a relief, and I feel like that's the sort of vibe that she tried to recreate later on Biophilia and Vulnicura, and just couldn't quite get to again, because it wasn't quite as immaculately complicated. Does that make sense?
Oh, fuck.
Yes.
I also love Undo and
Undo's
Cocoon.
Fucking great. And Cocoon's fucking
and Hidden
great.
Place. Hidden Place is, like, top 3 Bjork songs for me.
I felt like you had that revelation last night.
I did.
Yeah.
I did at, like, midnight, and then I listened to it like 6 times today. I'm really obsessed.
Yeah,
but,
Hidden Place, yeah.
I also, the more I talk about it, sort of understand why you're putting it down here, because then after all of the songs I have listed, there's just a lot of fluff here.
Yeah.
What is a shame about Vespertine is that it has some amazing B-sides that didn't make it onto the album for whatever reason. I think some of the B-sides are better than some of the songs that made it onto the album. Domestica is probably one of my favorite Bjork songs, regardless of whether it's a B-side or not. She said that was one of the first songs she wrote for the album because the album was supposed to be about home life. Kind of like you were saying, her nighttime, what she did at home by herself. And it's a beautiful song about how she lost her keys and she can't find them, and she wishes she could because there's a taxi waiting for her. Yeah. And that's the entire song, and it's beautiful. But nothing like that made it onto the album, which is surprising if that was sort of the concept from the beginning.
Right. But, I mean, that being said, for me, it's like, I remember it was like back, 2002, 2003, whatever, driving back from my day job at night at the snow in Salt Lake in my fucking boxy Isuzu Trooper. It's snowing, roads are a little bit covered, a little bit, light turn screen, I turn onto a thing, and for whatever reason, it just starts spinning out, but I have this album playing at the time, and fucking It's Not Up to You is on there. And not just that, but I always remember that moment, because, like, that's when you listen to this album, at night and during the snow. I mean, not just because she actually samples the sound of crunching snow under your feet for the beat for one of these songs, but also the fact that it's just, like, it just feels that way. It feels celestial and orchestral, but also bound into the heavens, into the firmament. It's just, like, that's the kind of the vibe that's going on. The children choir at the end of It's Not Up to You fucking kills me every time. Because, like, it really takes that emotion, like, it's not up empty, and then, you know, that little undercut of that she has of, but it never really was. You know, like, it's like about, like, you want to fall in love, you want to have all these other things happen to you, it ain't your choice, baby. It's like a weirdly brutal song, but it's so gorgeous in the package it's delivered in. And, like, for me, it's for that reason, there are flaws to Vespertine. It is kind of like it's not like my Dark Horse #1 or anything else like that, I will say.
I thought it might be for a minute there.
Yeah, but, like, for me, like, Medulla, and I like Medulla a lot, I just feel like Medulla has more empty space than Vespertine does. That's, like, my biggest thing. But I want to... I just want to see if you're still... This is Vespertine lower than Medulla.
I think you've convinced me. I mean, Vespertine is a great album. There are more songs out of Medulla that I usually would like to listen to. But in 14 songs, there are a bunch of mistakes. Or, again, not mistakes because she meant for them to be there.
Yes.
But, you know...
Bjork stand. I get it. Yes. All right, cool. Well, in that case, are we okay then with Medulla at 6 and Vespertine at 5?
Yes.
Okay. Whew, all right, so just to recap for those who are listening, number 10, Biophilia. Number 9, Utopia. Number 8, Vulnicura. Number 7, Volta. Number 6, Medulla. Number 5, Vespertine. So basically, outside of Biophilia, we're kind of going in reverse chronological order.
Which we've done before.
Yeah.
And also...
it feels right, though, honestly.
I kind of have to say that if we're burying Vespertine, Selma Songs has to be next.
If not Selma Songs, what are you thinking, Evan?
Well, don't fucking throw that shit at me. All right, so we're down to the top 4. We're down to debut, post-Onogenic, and Selma Songs.
Because I would put Selma Songs below Vespertine personally, definitely. Okay. But I understand why it's not.
Okay, and I know that there was a holy trilogy of kind of the first 3 albums in a lot of fans' minds. I know that. And this week, I kind of wanted to see if I could...
But also, objectively going into it afterwards, they're the best ones.
Yeah, and the thing is that, like... And I kind of wanted to go into when I went to Research Week, because I've had these albums for a while, and I kind of wanted to poke holes in that narrative, just like, let's see where the fuck you are. And just now, when we were talking about Vespertine, I was looking at the track list for all of these, and I'm like, well, shit. Like, it's one of the things, because there are... Listen, guys, I'm telling you right now, there's some weak moments on Post. I hate to break it to you. I know there's some stands out there. But, like...
Okay, but never mind. We'll get to it.
Exactly, yeah. Babe, we're going to get to it. But at the same time, Selma Songs I have a profound connection with. Now, let's get something out of the goddamn way. 107 Steps is a narrative song. It's not really a song. It's not really something you can... It has to be enjoyed in the circumstance of the movie. Like, she did it. It's worked. I get it. Whatever. But... aside from, like, Scatterheart, which is definitely way different on the album version than the movie version.
And
like,
I think I prefer the movie version.
Yeah, I do too.
Especially having, like, watched that just a couple of days ago. Listening to the album version is sort of disappointing.
It is, and profoundly.
Yeah.
Because
that's the one that she made the most overarching changes to. Like,
absolutely,
I think she like reworked the production a bit.
Because on the it's in the movie right after she Mercy kills the cop because he's a fucking asshole and wants to die, but then she goes to jail for it.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. Woo. Sorry, I spoiled a movie that's 18 years old for y'all. But most importantly, though, like in that film, like at that point, her kid is riding around with a new bike that he got from the people that are now dead, and he's singing. What's he singing in that moment? He's saying it wasn't. You had no choice.
You just did what you had to do.
Do what you had to do. Which is not what the chorus that she has here, which she sings herself. Like, Scatterheart's kind of weird, but then, oh my god. Kvalda is like, I remember, like, when you finally get to it, when they have the brassy horns and everything else like that.
When you finally get to it after 40 minutes of literally scoreless, depressing, like,
slice of
Rust
life
Belt movie.
Yeah.
It's a huge break. It's undoubtedly my... second favorite song on this album. It's fantastic, but it also, like, in an album sense, the intro is too long, and, like, Catherine Deneuve doesn't sound as good as Bjork does, and kind of just wish that Bjork was singing the whole thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, if we're doing ranking, I'm gonna list all my complaints.
Exactly.
And that's... I also, like, in the musicals is fine. It's a thing that she did... like 1,000 times better on It's Oh So Quiet, and so I just don't really have any use for it.
I've never disagreed with you on anything more.
I also will say that I've seen It All is too long and doesn't build to anything, and Tom York does not save it.
Which is, I always have this memory in my mind that he's better than he is in that song, too. That's like the worst part about it.
Right, because he's great on the Radiohead records.
And around this time, he did a fucking collaboration on the PJ Harvey album, Stories from the City, Stories from the Sea. They have a song together, The State We're In, which is like fucking amazing and gorgeous and beautiful.
It's not Tom York's fault that he's not interesting on this song, because he just wasn't given anything interesting to do. It's a very simple melody, and it just kind of keeps going with that.
She wanted not Peter Strome singing on the album version, which I get, which is fine. They're buddies. They share a mutual interest. That's great. But, like, I get it. That being said, I need to gush about In the Musicals for a second, because that song fucking kicks ass, and I don't care who the fuck says anything on there. Okay. The way that the production is just inventive. It starts out with those little, sneaker sketches across hardwood floor. Mm-hmm. It later goes to the pencil pads of the courtroom on there. And the fact that it just has, like, the way the horns swing and brass, and you have the clapping. It's just, like, it really feels like she wanted to embellish everything about, like, a Bubsy Berkeley musical, like, back in the day. Like, it feels defiantly old school. Like, it's an expansion of the It's Oh So Quiet sound, because she also gives it a much more imbued vocal take, a much more, passionate and poetic thing. Like, she's writing for this character.
I don't know how you can get more passionate than the vocal take on It's Oh So Quiet.
It's almost comical, though. And sometimes, like, the screaming is, like, almost, like, off-putting sometimes, too. Like, it's abrasive. All right, Mikey, settle the bet here between us here. Walk us through your thoughts on some of the songs.
So, I do think some of the songs were improved for the album.
Mm-hmm.
Better singers, different lyrics.
Yep.
I am a fan of the next to last song in the movie. That's about
where
you like continue crying after all the crying you've already done.
Oh.
No, here it's a New World.
Oh,
rewritten as New World. The lyrics in next to last song are just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Stunning.
Well, I like there's that one line she has in there about, like, the sun unfolding in her hair. And just, like, those four words together, sun unfolding in your hair or whatever. Like, I'm just like, that's such a fascinating way to phrase that. And she has always such a fascinating hold of the English language where she sometimes uses to her advantage in wonderful ways. And that's one of those times. But continue, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think in this album you also kind of see the influence of what was being done, I guess, at the same time for Vespertine, where she's collaborating with Matt Mose and they're making sounds out of, shuffling a deck of cards and opening bird cages. And then, like you were saying, the sneakers and the notepads. So they kind of go hand in hand. Taran, you make a good point that maybe Vespertine is a better endeavor in that concept,
because they do a lot of the same production tricks on Vespertine,
but a lot more calmer, a lot more,
but also just to a more consistent listening experience, and to, I think, a stronger effect more often. Yeah, I mean, I don't need us to put Vespertine higher, but I am going to stick to my guns pretty hard here that some songs needs to go at 4.
Yeah. I think having a discussion about it, I think, is helpful in that end, because it's just like, the highlights for me are absolute, like, career highlight type things. Like, I appreciate the inventiveness that she brings. It's almost like the post level of just, like, explosive color and sound, which I'm always a big fan of and appreciate there. But again, it's also at the same time I'm looking at an Overture and New World. They're still great, but it is the same song. One time it has lyrics over it, and 107 Steps is, like, inconsequential. It's only good for the narrative. I have a deep and profound love of this album, but that being said, I think we can go ahead, we can put it in at number 4 on there. And In the Musicals is fucking awesome. But that being said, we are now down, and I guess we kind of thought it was going to be this way: debut, post, and homogenic. 3 very different albums, I will say. Just, like, literally as different as they can be from each other outside of the rest of their discography. So, Mikey, I don't envy you at all, but if you had to pick a number 3 out of these 3 albums, what would you go with?
Because I don't know what we're going to do when we get to post and homogenic, I think we can talk about debut next. It is the one album, I think, out of her entire discography that sounds like the era when it was made. If you listen to a post song now, you don't know when it was created. Debut is very 90s in a brilliant way, but it's a little bit dated.
That is a great fucking point, yes.
Yeah, because Debut is definitely, like, you can hear that she's collaborating with people in the
Hooper,
London scene that she, like, enjoys.
Graham Massey.
You can definitely, like, you hear that trip hop effect.
Yeah, I mean, Big Time Sensuality, I think, is the biggest victim of it, because that sound, that like, that's like that tone, that's
like
tone.
Like full. There's some full blown house music. I mean, I fucking love There's More to Life Than This.
Okay, we need to talk about the production on this goddamn song for a second.
It is straight up house music. Like, it's just...
So it's got kind of like
it's
this,
not
like...
nearly as inventive as... the following two albums, certainly.
But the production on There's More to Life Than This, I remember when I got this album the first time and I heard it and I kept going back to it over and over again, because it's kind of like this live, like, it feels like a live tape recording or something. Everyone's kind of in the background a little bit, you know, like...
It says recorded live at the Milk Bar Toilets.
Right, and the thing is that, like, I think that was in the album too, where, like, it just feels so deliberate though, because it's not just, like, a tape that you have. Like, it's production-wise, because for her to, like, that sound of the door opening and closing, and
walks
her to
away
be...
from the microphone.
Yeah,
exactly.
She definitely... I mean, they definitely, like... did that take and then also took it to the studio and spruced it up a bit.
Exactly,
sure.
But then she's there in the bathroom and she's singing, and you just hear all those music and sounds like faintly through the walls, and she's singing full bore vocal, and then like what? And then the door opens, an explosion of sound again. Like, it's just a journey. It's such a simple trick, but she pulls that little thing off so brilliantly. It's like the movie Birdman compressed in a song. You know, like it's just like fucking great. You know, I just love what she does with that. But please continue. Yes.
I mean, also, I mean, do I even need to talk about Human Behavior? Iconic, instantly, what an incredible way to start your artistic debut.
Yeah.
And just, like, talking about themes that she will be talking about for the entire rest of her career and life. And then you go into Crying, and again, it's, like, pretty housey, but that... like, it's everything I want out of a dance song. Yeah. Like, literally everything. Uh-huh. And then you go to Venus as a Boy. You're the first time you're hearing her get all, like, sensitive. It's not quite a ballad, but you're still in that vein.
Okay, but the things that surprised me about Debut, it is a dance pop album. It's the moments when it's not dance pop that I think are most fascinating. Because, like, Someone in Love, kind of this little, like, you know, dusty European, almost, like, harpish soundtrack. It's one of the few times she does a cover, too.
Well, she actually got a harpist.
Yeah. And, like, it's just this lovely, like, gorgeous, simple rendition. And then you have dance pop, and then by the time she has all the horns crashing in during the anchor song at the end, it's just like, I mean, it's like, it's a weird end to the album, and I love it.
It's like a prelude to Volta. If her entire discography was a musical, this would be the medley at the beginning. Where you hear a little bit of Volta.
It's her overture.
You hear a little bit of...
Selma Song's overture.
I was about to say, since I said that word, I actually love the Selma Song's overture. I like it more than, like, Scatterheart and In the Musicals and 107 Steps. Again, weakness for horns.
Yeah, she performed it live during the Vespertine tour, so she loves it too.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, God, I would die.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Debut.
Yeah. And so, like, but the thing is that we hit that one point, like, one day, Aeroplane and Come to Me is kind of like a weird stretch for me.
Well, yeah, this album is definitely, I think, purposefully front-loaded. You know, she's making pop music of the era. She's with a record label. I'm sure they had some input since it's her first record on the order of the songs and what was going to be a single and that sort of thing. And it's very specifically like those first 6, well, besides like Someone in Love, but those first 6 songs basically just fucking keep on hitting. And then it's like,
With a couple other songs.
Is
that how you feel, Mikey?
Even really like Violently Happy, personally.
I know.
I get it.
You don't either?
I don't really
love Violently Happy.
No,
I get Violently Happy, but
that is an of the era production.
Yes, very much so, very of the era, and also just melodically, it's not as strong as the other singles here. It's still a great track.
I'm so glad you said that.
But
it has a place in my heart because it was probably, from what I can remember, probably the first Bjork video that I ever saw, and that's how I got into listening to Bjork. So I'll always love Violently Happy. But you're right, it's not as strong as some of the initial singles in the album. While there are weaker points, relatively, I don't think there is a weak point to this album that other albums do have.
I would argue the jazz covers.
Really?
Neither of them really do much for me. And I think that even in the musicals is a more effective. I know it's not the exact same style, but it's a more effective if she's gonna go old school Hollywood glamour.
Yeah.
That's just a better iteration of that. And obviously, It's Oh So Quiet is like all time one of her best performances and songs. So because there's so much great dance pop on here, I think it just highlights all the more to me how, you know, if you're gonna do a jazz standard, for me, you need to have like a technically trained, fucking brilliant voice. And while she does have an incredible voice, and honestly, I feel like even if she had recorded these jazz standards 2 albums later, I would have liked them more because her voice had matured a little bit. Obviously, it wouldn't have fit on Homogenic whatsoever.
I fucking love them.
But it just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, her mid-range is kind of weak.
Yeah.
And the, like, growling doesn't work for me.
So, here's a question, though. Would you also have put this in number 3?
No.
Oh, okay. What
No.
would you have tossed at number 3? I know.
This is very difficult. These
really
3
is.
albums are really, really close. But I would say Homogenic.
I feel like it has to be. I really feel like it has to be either one of these things, and we'll talk about it in a second.
And as much as, like, Hunter is phenomenal.
There's actually several phenomenal songs on here.
Bachelorette blew me away this week.
Alarm Call.
Alarm Call is, like, up there, like,
I'm not a fucking Buddhist.
like, maybe even, like, top 5 for me, Alarm Call. Like, incredible. But I just, you know, then you have, like, All Is Full of Love.
You don't like All Is Full of Love?
No, I
Oh
don't.
my God.
Sorry,
Karen,
guys.
how many hot takes can you
Sorry.
have in one
I
body?
don't really like All Is Full of Love.
Holy shit! All right, Mikey, we love
Not,
that
not
song,
even the
right?
single version of All
I
Is
don't
Full of
like
Love?
Unravel.
Unravel is beautiful.
I'm not into 5 years. Or
Okay, well,
immature.
I don't know anyone that's really into 5 years. Personally.
But like, then
I like every single song on this album.
Okay.
This and Debut, I think, are some of the songs are the only albums that do not have one song that I would say I don't like.
Oh,
I think all the other albums have one that I'm like not crazy about. Homogenic is, I won't say perfect because I'm not entirely disagreeing with your ranking right now, Taran. But I don't think there's a bad song on here.
I'm not okay. I will say I don't think that any of these first 3 albums have a bad song on them. Like, at worst,
I have one in mind.
well, sure. Then say that in a moment.
Yes.
But at worst, for me, these are like fine songs that are just like, it's a matter at this point of like which album has more songs that aren't incredible.
Right.
And for me, that's Homogenic.
Right.
Even though, and it's also a matter of like,
All neon-like? Yeah.
I love All Neon.
Really?
Actually.
Okay.
Personally, I think that some of the production choices on there's a specific like synth tone on All Neon Like that just gets me. I'll say I understand why you're not as into it. I think that melodically it's not necessarily as interesting as a lot of the other things that are happening here, but from a production standpoint, like mixing, like studio craft, I just think All Neon Like is really, really strong.
Right. But then again, like, I also don't want to underplay the power of, one, Yoga is,
Yes.
I think, just, a gorgeous ode to her heartland. But I keep coming back to Hunter because, like, aside from the fact that was a single, I feel like it's one of those rare songs that only Bjork, like, a militant string section is going to be driving your song for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's kind of the song about, here I am, a female, singing about being a hunter and bring back the goods. You know, like, it's weirdly kind of emasculating in its own weird way. Like, this is, a lot of critics at the time talked about how this was, like, a cold electronic album, and especially in the late 90s, there was a lot of cold electronics albums.
Mm-hmm.
She was trying to find the heart and all that machinery there. How do we do that? You know, like, it is, again, the coldness here is the same, like a different kind of coldness, and Vespertine's a lot less, welcoming, but she finds so many weird, wonderful moments on there. Alarm Call is almost like a gimme single, like, here's kind of a little bit poppy thing, except it's just so brilliant. It's like she learned all the lessons from the first 2 albums, and put together something so, like, free and loose, and just, like, upbeat with her vocals coming in there, like,
Amazing lyrics. I want to go on a mountaintop with a radio and good batteries.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of like
Call-
post-era lyrics, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Alarm Call is definitely like some of my favorite lyrics that she's ever written.
Yeah.
At least the ones that I, like, noticed immediately this week. I will also say that, like, I am not sick of Bjork. We're gonna finish, and then I'm gonna go listen to more Bjork.
Yeah.
Like,
listen to the live albums.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
that being said, because I feel like we're talking about number 3, talking about a couple other things, though. Can we talk about Post for a second? Yeah. I kind of want to talk about Post. Because this is, I think, a lot of people, and this is an album where, let me just say this out the gate. There's a song at the end, 2 songs called Cover Me and Headphones, which are kind of take it or leave it prospects for, I think, maybe a couple people, depending. I'm getting a look from Mikey, so I don't know how he feels about that. Go ahead.
So I think those 2 songs are beautiful.
Okay.
Like I was saying earlier about Debut, that kind of sets the tone for Vespertine later on, Headphones especially, if you pay close attention to it. You were saying, Taran, how Vespertine, is micro sounds. It's meant to be listened to digitally through headphones, and the song's called Headphones.
Yeah.
So I think those are beautiful. My only problem with Post, and that doesn't mean that I don't love it as much as I do, is You've Been Flirting Again.
I was about to say, yeah.
It's song I keep expecting my revelation to come on, and it never does. I keep thinking like, oh, some like wonderful, bitter like in a relationship, but is it really like still lasting kind of thing? And it just like it keeps me at arm's bay. And honestly, the Modern Things kind of does that too.
Yes.
Because like that one where like it starts off with an interesting melody and like all the Modern Things are stored in the volcano and it's annoying the dinosaurs. I'm like, oh, you're getting weird. And then it just kind of goes with this weird beat change, and it just kind of like loses some of that specialness part with it. It's not a bad song.
Yeah. So this album's really hard for me. Like I said, these 3 are so close, but I feel like it has, like, some of the weakest tracks of these first 3. I agree with you. I don't love Headphones. And I agree with you also. You've Been Flirting Again. Like, those are my 2, like, eh. But then it has my 2 favorite Bjork songs, Hyper Ballad and Army of Me. And, like, I can't overlook that. Even though maybe some of the experiments on this album don't work as well, it just, like, this is Bjork's peak as a pop songwriter on this album.
Yes.
This is her best work.
It's not just the fact, because, like, Debut was quirky, it was dance pop, and it had a couple other things on there. This is an explosion, because I want to tell you how fucking weird a song I Miss You is. It has kind of, like, this little, like, tap beat, this and then it has this like little accordion sound in there, and then like it builds and there's bongos coming in, and then this fucking horn section comes in.
Yes!
And it's just like amazing. It just like is changing your life, and like the more I listen to it, I'm like, this song is fucking wild. And it has another great simple lyrical conceit, I miss you, but I haven't met you yet. Like it's just kind of like weird and romantic and bizarre.
It almost feels like the sequel / Talking Heads indebted version of There's More to Life Than This.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like it's sort of in the same vein emotionally.
Yeah.
And even maybe chord-wise, but then it goes to a completely different place with it.
But if we're talking about emotional things going to a different place, I want to talk about Hyper Ballad, which is a ballad, which is one of the most objectively perfect songs I would say ever made. This very simple beat that eventually like builds and grows, and the lyrics at first you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's standing on a mountaintop throwing things off just to hear the sounds they make, and then by the time you get to the second verse, where she talks about, I wonder what sound my body would make when she throws down, they're like kind of like this isolationist, almost suicide-y things, but then I go through all this before you wake up so I can feel happy and feel safe again. Like, it's this, like, weird psychodrama of a song put to this fucking thunderingly emotional beat that, like, Robin and so many other dance divas, like, they have almost nothing on this. Like, this is the blueprint for so much of what great pop music became.
Well, and also, again, I'll say that about all 3 of these first albums. I mean, like, Debut, obviously, it's very of the era, but it's also early enough that I still think that it was very influential. The things that she did, the way that she tweaked those styles on Debut, ended up informing, like, the entire 90s. And then, like, when you get to Post and Homogenic, I mean, this is what synth and dance pop, especially indie synth and dance pop, still sounds like. Bjork herself has moved on to this other shit, and
the rest of the world's just catching up.
Quote unquote lesser artists are still like working with and tweaking post and homogenic and doing them in new ways. But that's the other thing about them is that they were recorded in 95 and 97 and they sound so modern. Mm-hmm. If post came out in 2018, I wouldn't think twice.
Yeah.
Like, it's utterly timeless.
Mikey, what your thoughts, please?
I completely agree. Listening to Debut again, I don't think I listened to Debut the whole way through very often. Mm-hmm. Listening to it again this week, it was very enjoyable. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I always kind of knew that Post and Homogenic were my favorites. But Debut is up there. I'll agree with that. I always thought Homogenic was like one of my favorite albums of all time. But what we've said about Post makes it almost superior in my mind. Although it has the one song, some of the songs that we don't love, it's so eclectic. She's doing exactly what she wants to be doing.
And so confident in it, too.
Which is different from Debut, where it had like a cohesive sound, produced safely in a studio with her record label.
Right.
Post is like she's doing what she wants to be doing. She's writing letters to different people or different ideas or writing in her diary almost. And I agree that it's probably her best work.
And I feel like it's important to recognize that, she was coming out of the Sugar Cubes. She wanted to reinvent herself for Debut. And I think I was reading that her record label...
One Little Indian?
No. It was her American one. I think it was Elektra.
Anyway, her record label was forecasting that it would sell like 40,000 copies globally. Mm-hmm. And within a couple months, it had sold 600,000. So, you can hear that confidence in Post. You can tell that this is the same artist who recorded Debut, but then... And she even wrote Army of Me during the Debut period and saved it. Mm-hmm. And I think that was very smart because
Massive Attack bring the production on
it is an entirely different song than I think she would have been allowed to make it.
Oh, absolutely. Debut. And that was a rock hit, too. That became a hit on the rock charts.
I mean, rightly so.
Yeah.
That's the other thing about Army of Me is that, you still hear that effect.
Yeah.
Gaga used something very similar in fucking Bad Romance. Mm-hmm. It was higher pitched, but it's the same effect. It's the same, tones, that crunchy, downward spiraling thing. You still hear that used everywhere. And anyway.
Yeah. And can we talk about how beautiful Possibly Maybe is? Or not?
Yeah.
I'm ambivalent on Possibly Maybe.
I like it. I kind of have to be in the mood for it, though, because, it is just such a otherworldly sound, I feel like that is almost closer to Vespertine, Homogenic to a degree as well. It's almost a forecast of that, this kind of cavernous synth tone.
It's very dreamy. Yeah. There's this and that telephone ringing in the background while she's singing.
Yeah. And also the way she sings on this one. It's this very vulnerable, focused, small mouth kind of thing.
Possibly Maybe is hard for me because I like everything except the hook itself. The possibly maybe. It's funny because it's catchy enough that I can sing it for you right now, even just listening to it 5 times this week. But I still don't. It doesn't click with me in the same way that a lot of the other songs on this record do. I really love Isabel.
Yeah.
I think it's stunning.
Oh, by the way, her explanation of what that song is about.
What is it?
Oh, we watched the documentary, remember? Where she talked about...
I was really drunk.
I know. But there was the thing where she talked about how, it's a song about there's pebbles in the ground, but they can, rise and become skyscrapers. But then she has thoughts and ideas that become airplanes, and they, circle in front of people and, go back and forth until... And it's just you hear this thing, and that's what she described to director Michel Gondry, who, put all of that in the music video. But, wait... That's what the song is about? It starts...
And then a moth has a message that it delivers to you through Morse code or something. I don't get it.
But listen to her talk about all of her songs and albums, and it's pretty similar.
Yes.
Right.
She's I was writing about this. And you're really? Because this sounds like a love song.
Yeah.
But, okay. As long as, whatever works for you.
It's also the prequel to Bachelorette.
Oh my god, absolutely. And Bachelorette is the darker cousin of that. Like, it is just so
oh my gosh,
gorgeous and beautiful.
Totally.
Yeah. But that being said, we've been talking about Bjork for 70 minutes already. And we're kind of like down to the thing of ranking these albums, debut, post, and homogenic. So before anything else, because it's a tight thing, and honestly, I want to thank all of you because this discussion has made me question my own choices a little bit. Like, now that we're into it, I'm like, oh, this is tighter than I thought it was going to be. Like, actually, well, it's so. So let's just go around, toss out our number 3s in the room. Let's see if outvoting will happen, if we can lock something in. Mikey, what would you put at number 3 of these?
So originally I said debut. After our conversation, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but homogenic might belong there. It's one of those two for me.
Yeah, I agree.
I also
it's one of those two.
For me, at this point, it's homogenic 3. It's debut at number 2. And it's post at number 1.
Yeah, no,
so
exactly.
Before we get to post again, why debut over homogenic?
I think it's a much more consistent album. I think that even with the moments that don't entirely work there, like, the thing is, I still, like, even with the run of One Day Aeroplane come to life, I still have things like, for me, Immature, 5 Years, like, those kind of things. I mean, also Pluto is a take it or leave it kind of proposition, too. Because that's like an industrial...
Probably my favorite Bjork song, yeah.
Oh, really?
Wait, your favorite Bjork song is Pluto?
Yes.
Fascinating.
Because
we need to listen to that again
because of my
as soon as we
experience
stop.
listening to it for the first time, I had never heard anything like that.
Oh, wow.
And I don't think there are any other songs like that.
Like that kind of like direct industrial pop.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of degree. So that's kind of it for me, where like, I'd say that like, a debut is a surprisingly strong statement. You are correct. The production is dated on there. Homogenic is bolder and takes more risks, has more weak points, I think, all across the board on there. So that's kind of my reasoning why debut would be a little bit above homogenic. But again, this is like fucking,
we're
horses and noses.
And for me, it really comes down to just like, how much do I love the great songs?
And I love post highlights with such great fervor and erotic passion that, like, it kind of is just, like, transform. And I love homogenic and what it says, and I love debut and what it established, but post feels like kind of a coming home of, like, again, I still come back to I Miss You, because, like, that is just, like, she never did anything like that quite again. And she never did anything like that before. Like, and this is the album where, like, failures aside, she felt, like, fearless in a profound way.
She did.
In a profound pop way.
It was the beginning of the rest of her career in which she did literally whatever she wanted.
Yeah. So that's why, for me, homogenic 3, debut 2, post number 1.
You cool with that?
Cool with that.
Great.
All right, so just to recap for everyone at home, number 10, oh, that feels so long ago, Biophilia. Number 9, Utopia. Number 8, Vulnicura. Number 7, Volta. Number 6, Medulla. Number 5, Vespertine. Number 4, Selma Songs. I'm happy that's there, honestly. Number 3, Homogenic. Number 2, Debut. And number 1, you know what's coming, Telegram. It is a remix album. Everyone loves it. Can't talk enough about it. It's post. We all know it's post. But as you can tell, we have a lot to talk about. Mikey has seen her live. He's actually watched fucking Drawing Restraint 9. There's a lot of other just weird Bjork things we need to talk about. There's a swan dress involved. In the meantime, though, Mikey, profoundly and deeply, thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
I'm
Thank you.
so glad you were here for this. Oh my goodness. Taran, of course, as always.
Yeah.
This was a great week.
It was fantastic.
Exactly. So in the meantime, though, if you could do us a favor, on our Facebook page, I love it when people do it, post your own list, your own ranking where the albums are. I know it's different than what we have, unless it's not. But let us know what you think. And also, while you're there, feel free to like us. Feel free to subscribe and rate us on iTunes. The more times you rate us, the more visibility we have. Other people can see it. We appreciate it. And Stitcher and SoundCloud and all the other things. But in the meantime, though, please do us a favor and keep listening, because you know that we'll be. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Heat of the moment, I thought that I could myself.